I really think that some of life's greatest lessons can be learned through pain. Like
Mhm.
for example, anecdotally with myself, like I have, a few herniated discs, and I have one of them that deteriorated, and I'm bone on bone on my L5S1 disc and or my L5S1 joint. And literally, like, that pain has taught me to deal with other things that would normally be very painful, but I'm like, well, it's not as bad as this, so it's not going to bother me. And I attribute, how having it a little rougher growing up as well to that same thing. I feel like a lot of things that should break me and should kind of hold me back they just don't bother me.
Oh
So
yeah.
I attribute pain as one of my greatest teachers. So I guess it'd be interesting to hear it from your point of view.
That's really cool. That I like that a lot, and I believe it as well. I mean, kind of back to what I was saying, I feel like you need that strain to grow. And I feel like science shows that as well, but I don't know. I think the strongest people have been through pain, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. And it's not like you want that story, not like you want to have this background story, but I really feel like the deepest people do have some sort of story to tell.
Yeah.
And I think pain is part of life, and trying to go through life without pain, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. And I personally feel like you might not have the right perspectives, because I've always thought of it as a sense that it's human nature for us to look for problems. When you have it so easy, your problems are the most pathetic problems in the world. That's when you're going to get upset about
First world problems.
traffic. Yeah, you're going to get
Mhm.
upset that they didn't get your meal right at McDonald's, things like that. But when you've been through real pain, it gives you more of a perspective. And I
Mm,
feel like that's a game changer, and it can make you a much better person.
Yeah.
I agree
It
completely, because I mean, you just don't get held back by other things. It's like fear almost becomes a byproduct. I mean, Austin, this, like, I mean, you're kind of the same way as like I want all the smoke. Like, bring me the adversity and make me feel alive. Like that's how I roll. Because it's
yeah.
like those things that they seem insurmountable, they're just not. And I mean, it goes back to perception, just like you were saying. That's why it's a cool thing to have you on to be able to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's cool too because I think that pain brings awareness and it brings you to life, which is pretty cool. Because a lot of times I think people that don't have pain in their life or haven't experienced enough pain to like come to the present moment, they're just on autopilot. And then, when the world comes up and it says, "Hey, I got this little problem," then they don't even want to come to real life because they just would rather be on autopilot the whole entire time. And what's the fun in that, you know?
Right. Yeah,
And
that's so true. I don't know. I agree. I think just thinking about how much I feel like I've grown in that sense
Mhm.
makes me really agree with you, Austin, that previously I was on autopilot, and I was just act react. So something bad
Yeah,
happens, you react. You're like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't like I was on autopilot, you messed me up.
yeah,
But when you have that different perspective, and you're able to absorb and kind of marinate, then I feel like you're able to grow, and you're able to kind of see the world for more of what it is.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. It's I mean, I don't know. And I guess like that's one big question that I always struggle with is like, why do people want to be on autopilot? Like, what's the fun in that? And like, yeah, you're gonna get some pain, but you're also gonna actually live your life. Because otherwise you're just on autopilot till you die. And I don't know. Like that's not something that I want to go the path that I want to go down. I want to take up and soak up every moment, whether it's like pain from a breakup or a loss or something that happened with like work or even like myself health related or anything like that, but then you reap all the benefits of like friendship, family, love, having success with your job, because like taking those opportunities to take those chances and create those possibilities, you risk it all, but you can get it all. And I don't know. That's I don't I'm really fascinated by neuroscience, and I love that you study it, and I can always like lean on you to get that information. But like, it's just, I think, I don't want to say like I'm too old to study it, because that's not true, but it's not something I ever felt called to be that scientific and research and understand. And I'm glad that I have a family member that is doing that stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know, and I'm curious, kind of going back to what you were saying about those people that don't want that. It's almost like it's obviously an easier way of living, but it just makes me wonder, even evolutionarily, why is it some people's just like human nature to be on autopilot?
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer to that, but I almost feel like pain, suffering, growth, perseverance create success. And I think it's a differentiating factor between the people that are going to live until they die on autopilot and the people that are going to live and are going to succeed and are going to grow.
Mhm.
And I always think back to kind of like stories of people that are dying, and it's not until then that they get out of autopilot and they're
Yeah.
like, shoot, what have I been doing my whole life? And I don't know, I feel like that's an encouragement for me to not ever feel that way. I mean, you're going to have your good and bad days, but I always want to at least be headed in the right direction.